3, 2, 1. Welcome to The Dance, y'all. This is a podcast centered around the world of tree climbing competition and those that devote their lives to its pursuit. We're proud to share some stories of bells rung, swings had, ascenders that clanked, and the future of our craft. Harness up and get ready to sound the horn. This is the Smooth Saw. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the latest episode of The Smooth Saw. My name's Jeff Inman. My co-host, Evan Beck. You'll hear us chatting here in a little bit. We recorded and had probably about half an hour-ish worth of audio that just flat out is not usable from the very beginning of our conversation. My Wi-Fi was acting kind of funny, I think, and then how I had everything plugged in my computer seemed to cause a fair amount of lag. So apologies that you're gonna enter into our conversation in a way after, I guess you could say, after we're nice and warmed up. The bummer about it is that first half an hour was us really kind of off the cuff having some great conversation, talking about catching up around holidays, talking about family, some of the stuff we got into, and then even diving into some frustrations and work and stuff. But I mean, by no stretch of the imagination is the rest of the episode cheapened by it not being in there. It just would have been really cool to have it. So you're gonna hear it. Excuse me. You're gonna hear it pick up right as we're talking around holidays and finishing the conversation around how it's super important to have people in your life to talk with and commiserate with and problem solve with, to lean on when times get hard and heavy. And I mean, and especially around the holidays, lots of just feelings happen around the holidays, and isolation is terminal. It's one of the things that we say in the Bible study I'm a part of at my church, is that it's just, you gotta have people in your corner that you can go and talk to about the hard stuff. And it's like somebody says, like, oh, I'm fine, how you doing? I'm fine. It's, that very rarely is the case. So if you happen to be someone who is struggling and someone who is struggling and needs some folks to talk to, by all means, hit us up. We're more than happy to have a conversation with you. But definitely try to find your group, find your people, find we say it all the time, Brick, Evan, and I, but having the three of us to really lean on and process through, it's been honestly one of the best things that's happened to us in our adult life. And that's a lot of what we are talking about in that first half an hour, is just around the holidays being intentional about sharing gratitude with one another, but specifically having a great deal of gratitude of having a support group. And it's not to like rub it in anybody's face or try to be honest, I don't feel like this kind of stuff gets talked about enough, especially on the male side of the equation. Not to get all, super feelsy here, but it's okay. It's okay to have feelings and to express that, and just have your close and best friends, be able to be there for you. We can all only carry whatever burden we're carrying for so long, and make sure, I'd encourage you, as you listen to this podcast, as you're going into the beginning of the new year, that you just try to be intentional about finding folks, and just have that support group available. It's I can't speak highly enough and enough really about why it's been so impactful in my life, and I know it's been impactful in Evan and Bricks as well. So yeah, um, keep it up. And with that, it is a brand new year, 2026. Here we are, first episode release of 2026 in from the Smooth Saw. So thank you for all the listeners, all you that keep us going, and just appreciate your dedication. We now officially have an social media Instagram page. So if you'd be kind enough to not only listen to this, but cruise on over there to Instagram and hit the follow button, like some stuff, share it with friends, and if you're into what we're doing, let's try to spread the word and share it with other folks. Be much appreciated. In the links of the IG page on in the bio has direct links to Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, to where you can listen to these episodes as they're coming out. But then also it has the landing page for YouTube, where um, I'm uploading these podcasts onto YouTube to have the video portion as well. But as we're doing more gear reviews and other things, we're going to be utilizing YouTube a lot more moving into the future. So that's cool. But yeah, new news, at least for us, is we have an official social media uh, page where all the updates, everything's going to be directly fed through there. And then Evan and I will certainly still be sharing and posting on our personal pages, but it helps kind of concentrate what we're trying to do with the podcast into a little bit more of a centralized space. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into the episode, do the obligatory but ever so important sponsor read. Big shout out to Courant Vertical Living for supporting us with equipment and helping with the endeavors that we find ourselves in. Especially, it's super stoked to be carrying a little bit extra kit down to Geezers here in a couple weeks, and having up nope. Uh, but it's makes a world of difference for us having high quality products that we know we can rely on. So if you're looking for some sweet rope and some cool bags, some funky vibes, definitely check out Courant Vertical Living. You can find it at all the different artist supply companies, but the one we love to promote the most here on the Smooth Saw is Arbsession. um, the stuff that they're doing over at Arbsession. Again, shout out to them and how they're supporting the community, and specifically the competitive climbing community, and different trainings and stuff like that. But it's been really cool to see that Arbsession emoji just all over the place, and we have a great deal of gratitude and appreciation for that. So use hashtag SmoothSaw to get you a bit of a discount on their website. And um, they got everything, it's stuff that is difficult to find on other arbor supply companies. Arbsession seems to have it. I just saw they're sharing that the latest shipment of the ISC Reflex is in, and they're going to be distributing more of that out. A bunch of stuff from Fanner, like at work, I wear Protos, and I'm a pretty big Fanner fan. So it's cool to see Arbsession promoting more of that kind of stuff as well. So cruise on over to Arbsession, and you will not be disappointed with not only what they have in stock, but the cool stuff that they have available, and how they're like constantly messing with their 3D printer and trying to do funky stuff. But also their customer service is just second to none. So, shout out to the Arbsession team, and we greatly appreciate that. and your support. Atmos Tree, one of the OG sponsors of the Smooth Saw. Um, 2 trees getting planted in the ground for another episode going out into the world. So if you're unfamiliar with Atmos Tree, it's it's basically a program designed for tree care companies where when you cut down, like do a removal project, it's like a one-to-one thing. So for every tree that you remove, another tree gets planted in the earth to offset what was taken away. And what's neat about the podcast, and I've talked about it in different episodes, but it's just so cool to me still after all this time that two trees are getting planted into the ground just because we're ranting and raving talking about tree climbing competitions. So you can find them on Instagram as well. I'll have links to all of our sponsors in the bio of each or of this episode. And yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and continue on into the rest of the episode. Hope you like it. Big shout out to Followship, local band that gives us the intro music for the podcast. Their drummer is an arborist that I work with on the daily, and just an amazing human being. I have a great deal of appreciation and gratitude for that dude just in general. But he just wails on the drums, and it's super cool. So appreciate you, Fellowship, for letting us use that song for the intro. And yeah, hope you dig this episode. Some of the hot takes as we're kind of getting into the new year, talking about geezers. Again, if you're listening to this and you're on the fence about going to geezers, it's happening. Like this episode is going to get released the what January 9th, or somewhere around there, hopefully on the 9th. And the geezers is the following weekend, so we're getting in on like the 13th, I think, and then it goes all the way through the weekend. But if you're on the fence about coming out to geezers, please do. It's first competition, at least in the States, of the season. You've got to be at least 40 years old in order to compete. If you're not 40, then you're on the other side of the tape helping with volunteering and running the competition. It's a fun comp. We talk about, a little bit of, we're going to basically jump right into a little bit of a more recent controversy, not controversy, but like a bit of a heated talk on social media. So let's, keep it positive, keep the, yeah, it's tree climbing, y'all. Like we're all super passionate about what we do. But at the end of the day, it's it's a game we love to play, and let's kind of leave it at that. So yeah, I'm sure that I am forgetting something in the synopsis of that first half an hour. But you won't know because it you couldn't really easily decipher what was going on in it. So with that, I know I've said this multiple times now, but with that, let's go ahead and jump into the episode. Thanks for listening. Again, cruise on over to our Instagram page, hit follow, share it, with, ideally 3 to 5 friends, and let's get that Ponzi scheme going. Let's get this. Let's grow our presence and get some more people listening to tree climbing competitions. Spread the word, spread the joy, spread the stoke, and let's get into it. Enjoy. All right, and we're back. So the audio you were probably listening to up to this point is likely very choppy, and sorry about that. I think we fixed the Wi-Fi, but we, at this point, the intro to the podcast probably has also told you everything you've needed to know. So, here we go. So anyway, talking about this time of year, isolation, all that type of stuff being difficult and rough for a lot of
Yeah.
people. You
Yeah.
know, different. I have a few family members, friends that just they struggle. This it's hard. Yeah, we've also talked about that in our between the three of us, how this time of year is just difficult as a parent, as a husband, all that kind of stuff. Trying to like
Yeah.
give your family everything they want, but also like we can't do everything.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So lean
Within
on the
within
people.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
Within reason, and try to teach lessons the whole way, and but also at the same time give them more than you had, or everything, because they're your kids and you want to. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of stress, but again, going like you said, it's so great to just lean on people, lean on your buds, lean on the dogs, and lean on some other friends, and lean
yeah,
on your family and get through it.
yeah. So with that, I know we talked social media, and how you know, in a lot of ways, how it's a great tool, and in a lot of ways, it's also for the birds. But with that being said, we now have an Instagram page. So
Yeah.
for those of you who don't find social media to be for the birds, or even if you do, please go subscribe to that. Uh,
Yeah.
it is funny how like I've said it like I think in the last episode too for the all the 5 people that listen to this show, and we're over 100 followers at this point, which is kind of that's neat. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
it's so
that's pretty
cute.
neat. Yeah,
Yeah.
some folks are down to follow along and listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yes, the at the Smooth Saw podcast is the handle. That's where all this stuff will get on it. Is it lagging again?
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
um. So anyway, that's the Insta thing. Cruise on over there. Like, we also have the YouTube channel. So like and subscribe to that. The links are in the Instagram links on the bio page. So you can access, the Spotify, Apple, and Amazon home like landing page for the podcast, but then also the YouTube landing page, so that way when stuff gets uploaded there, whether it be podcast or we're doing like product reviews or anything like that, it's you know follow along, like and subscribe. Maybe one day we can be real cool and have some something generated other than likes and all that stuff from putting this stuff out there. But in the meantime,
Be like
that's
be like my three daughters that every time they start a conversation on the phone, okay, guys, this is what we're gonna do today. Don't forget like and
yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah, Lucy said something like that the other day too. Yeah, just because we've been watching so much, like between YouTube golf and workouts on YouTube. She said something along the lines of like and subscribe. Um, and I've like, it's like, what? You're 4 years old. Why are you talking like that? Um,
Yeah.
but
Lola does
anyway,
the
yeah.
same.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where all the updates are gonna be now. I mean, we'll still share like on our personal pages as well, but
Yeah.
that'll be the thing. Uh, so uh, yeah, and it's I mean, did were you following along with the geezers thing today? Like on the geezers like social media?
Well, I the only one I saw was they posted that we're not allowed to use new ISC device because it hasn't been
Right.
approved by ITCC yet. That's the only thing I've seen in my but
Yeah.
I've been kind of out of the loop.
Good. Yeah. I mean,
Why?
I've also been out of the loop. Like it's because I've been on the golf course with, my dad and
Yeah.
brother and the kids all day. And when that happens, like the phone just really is there only for emergencies and music.
Yeah.
It's like one of very few places in my life where the phone essentially doesn't exist.
Mm.
So rest of today, I wasn't checking it, wasn't on it. It's glorious. It's a great thing. Everybody should have something that takes you away from your phone.
Yeah.
But then, chat games because he was calling just to catch up a bit, but also just ask about the reflex. And he's like,
Okay.
yeah, it it was popping off and people were really frustrated about it. So um I bring it up just to be like, "Hey, everybody, let's chill out." Like,
Yeah.
it's a climbing device that literally it just came out.
Yeah.
Um, like,
And there's
got
also what,
debuted at
like
Expo.
yeah, there's like 7 or 8 other ones that have coming out within the last year. I feel like
Yeah,
you you should be okay.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, hand up, I'm biased
Yeah,
on the device, like,
sure.
because
You were the
I've been a
you were one of the
I've
ones that got to go through the testing process
Yeah,
and build it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's cool, and it's really no free ads,
Yeah.
ISC, but
Yeah.
it's a really cool device.
Yeah.
Um and especially like when it comes to aerial rescue, like there's like immediately I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be awesome for
Mhm.
like training ARs if you have to do an AR, the AR event in comp." Um but also, yeah, like the while I think the thing is like bomb proof and super safe, like we've also had devices come out like like you just said, like a bunch of devices have come last year. What do we was it like 6 devices? Two
More than
a
5.
Vertec modded,
Yeah.
the throttle, the Blackbird, the Reflex, Akimbo Dose. What else? That is This is hilarious also that like we're like did more in 1 year? Did more come out than that in 1 year? 5 different mechanical devices from 5 different manufacturers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um, that's all.
That
It's still
sounds
like
about right.
that's
But anyway, regardless, it's a
yeah,
lot. Like, there's
yeah.
a lot to choose from.
So like blowing up the rules committee, like I mean, shout out Tilford. That dude came back like pretty much right away. Shout out Jason Deal.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and it's a heck of a lot of stuff they got to go through to like make sure they don't approve it too early to where it gets approved and then all of a sudden there's a recall because
There's
that's
an
never
issue.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's never
Right.
happened with mechanical.
No.
Maybe that's
Never.
why there's an approved mechanical climbing device list is because these things are known to sometimes have issues.
Yeah.
Um, so everybody, let's pump the brakes. Let's be chill. It's geezers. It's geezers.
Yeah. Right.
Like we're not going
You're
into
not qual.
ITCC. Like
No. It's okay.
it's okay. Yeah. Um
You're getting beyond what the point of geezers is, and it is supposed to be and is one of the funnest events of the year by far.
yeah.
Let's not take it that seriously that you take
Yeah.
the fun out of it.
Right. Also, I think be totally fine to use that device at geezers. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean, I
feel
would be too.
pers- personal. It's not my call, but
Right.
you know, one one guy's opinion, very biased opinion, who has no financial implication from this, but like
Yeah.
from someone who spent a lot of time on that in all the different versions. Like,
Yeah.
is it fine? Yeah, I think it'd be totally fine. But
Yeah.
it's also like it's part of playing the game, y'all. Like they could,
Well,
you
but
know, they could
so
just say, yeah, good,
knowing that because to host an event or to host a tree climbing competition, there is insurance involved, and God forbid, in case something happens, we want to make sure that we're covered. And the insurance that covers this particular event, they follow all of the TCC rules. And so, because it's not approved for uh, for any of the ISA sanctioned events, then they can't allow it because the insurance companies that cover the geezers event will look down on it if something were to happen. Is how I
right,
understand
yeah,
why it's being
yeah,
why it's a no go for this event,
yeah.
which
Well, and
I could certainly appreciate.
yeah, yeah. I get it as a. It's not that it's impossible, right? That it's not that they couldn't say, yeah, it's a green light. It's just like the risk. It's a potential risk.
Yeah,
So is everything else we do is a potential risk.
right.
So it's like the
Yeah,
powers that be, the ones that have to make the ultimate call, ones that have to make the ultimate call on it. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's the same thing as
yeah,
everything else we do. It's just this is a
yeah,
game and we
yeah.
can't what and that's what I've like said multiple times tonight before I'm about to say it again. Just like it's I love that we're passionate, that we care this much to get all wound up about this thing. And I'm not I mean, like,
Hmm.
I'm also like, I've been on the other end of this as well, of
Sure.
being like, I remember going into the Charlotte and, like, Tobias, I'll apologize to you again, even though I've done it, like, multiple times to your face. Like, he was the head judge one year, at the Charlotte and put a thing out and said, like, "No natural redirects are allowed in the competition," and I did not act as a professional. I did not handle that well, and, you know, just was not as kind in that interaction as I should have been, could have been, so I'm sorry about that. Even still, even though I feel like natural redirects are just, like, such an important stationary rope climb or not even just stationary, just climbing in general,
uh,
um, but as the guy who Tobias, as the guy who was making that call, he didn't deserve you know, the frustration I brought to that. The same way that these
yeah,
folks that are putting on this event don't deserve, you know, this backlash of like, you can't use this once. Is it
yeah,
sick? Would it be really great? Sure. Also, lighten up, y'all.
yeah. And well, and
Uh,
in due time, it will. And I think it goes
yeah,
back to that argument that you made before. It's we have approved devices in the past, and then there has been a recall, and then that further complicates it. So I applaud um, Tilford and the deals and the rest of uh, the rules committee and equipment committee is saying while it is a great device, I think we should give it some time. And they have to use their discretion, and maybe they could communicate out, what that time frame looks like. Is it 6 months? Is it 9 months? Is it based on the device? Whatever that looks like, there could be communication ahead of time to say, hey, we when we bring this device to market, then it gets all of the CE stamps or whatever, whatever approval process it needs to go through. Then there's X amount of time for people to have it out in the field, to use it, to see if there is going to be recall, and then we approve it for comps.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the part of being on this side of the tape.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
also
mean,
encourage people that if you are that passionate about it, if this is something that you would like to see change, don't sit on the fence or don't sit on the sidelines and complain. When I'm sure they will gladly take people that are willing to put up their time and efforts because it's almost all of it is free. You're donating your time to something that you're passionate about. You can do the same thing, um, and if it's something that you want to see change, then you might be able to be part of that change. Otherwise, at some point, you're gonna have to be okay with it, or just shut up
Right.
because it's not worth your time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's, I said it once tonight of just where the comp scene is in kind of a fun, but a kind of a weird spot, like going through some growing pains. Like I said to James, I was like, what was it, like 50 years ago? We weren't even secured doing the Footlock event. And he's like, no, 30. It was 30 years ago. We we were doing just Footlock. It was not secured Footlock. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, that's better. Yeah, that's
yeah,
even better. So 30 years ago. So, we have like really high caliber climbers that are even 30 years old
yeah,
going
yeah,
into the Masters at ITCC, ITCC world champions not even 30 years ago. So before they were, in their lifetime, this whole
yeah.
thing has progressed to this point where, again, let's jump back five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 climbing devices, mechanical climbing devices, and then adaptation to one of them came out in one
hmm
year.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
right.
like we're moving at a pace that is just it's just difficult to keep up with. It doesn't change the fact that, like, when something is awesome and you're using it regularly on your job site, um, and doing a bunch of training, it doesn't make it any less frustrating when it's like, no, you can't use that yet. But it's also like, let's just be real with the fact that, like you said, it's a bunch of volunteers volunteering their time to try to, like, make sure nobody is using something that doesn't want to hold them. Like, how many
Hmm.
versions of the zigzag? It's not that like every zigzag went wrong, but the zigzag has this like not that great reputation, especially in its early generations before it got
Hmm.
to a point where it was super. Well, it's just like it's one of the most popular mechanical climbing devices that's out there.
Yeah.
Like on your end, like if you're not seeing folks in a Blake stitch on the utility, and I would imagine they're probably on a zigzag.
I mean, there is a huge push for us on my side, on the utility side, that to go essentially, like you were just saying, is just going from a Blake's hitch slash taut line slash um, even just split tail, and to just bypass everything else and go right to a zigzag. And for
Right.
all the reasons that we know why folks want to get to a zigzag, it functions incredibly well in all sorts of conditions and all sorts of ropes and um, natural union climbing, friction savers, all of those things. It just does really, really well. But at the same time, it has things that you need to be really mindful of. And cleaning it is and inspecting it is one of those things. And we all know that because it's not midline attachable, it doesn't come off the rope very often,
Yep.
if ever, for some folks. And that's a really hard thing. And so that brings you to like the next, like where I kind of want to go with this conversation. It's like there's so many things that we do in this industry that folks like label as being safe. And I think it's important to at least discuss what the term safe or safety means. Safety isn't just the absence of a negative outcome. It's actually more capacity, like, and it's building capacity to fail safely or to fail successfully. And failure just means that you didn't reach your goal or an unintended outcome happened, and even with that unintended outcome happening, you were still safe, right? Because there's so many times what we do tree work, and whether it's one handing or um, climbing beyond your skill set or tying into something or using a rigging point when you probably shouldn't. But and then we do those things and then nothing bad happens. Well, then that's turned around as being success. right? And we have to look at it differently. And the same goes with all of our devices too. Just because you can use it and there is no negative consequence, does that mean that you're setting yourself up for a potential catastrophic outcome if something does go wrong, or just injury, or and then where is your threshold of safe practices? Where does it sit? And for some people, it's really high. For some people, it's like, well, I didn't die, so we're good, and I'm not going to use it again. And I mean, you kind of take that, like, because that's oftentimes that's what you see on social media is like, and I don't get me wrong, like I love that we share the things that don't go right. Yeah, and when we do have close calls, or even some people out there are sharing like either near death or even death experiences. Like
Hmm.
you have to learn from those, but you also shouldn't take it in the vein like, well, it went well because I didn't cut myself or I didn't tear out my rigging point. And then that is looked at as being, well, that's what success looks like. That's not successful work. You need to learn if one of those variables changes, then that's going to be a negative outcome. Well, we need to learn why and not look at that and like hold that to, at the upper caliber of people that are doing tree work. No, you're not, right? You're not doing it because if one of those variables changes, you're not building capacity to fail safely. You're just running out of luck.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just because it works one time, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like everything we do. Just because it worked one time doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work all the time. Now, what we want to do is build systems and be on things that do that. Um, but friction hitches, the amount of
Yeah.
times I've had a friction hitch that I'm looking at and I'm like, I mean, I think it's fine. Like it worked it worked yesterday. Let me tie
Mm,
it on, sit in it. I'm having to help it a little bit more.
yeah.
Then you get to the top of the tree and it's like sliding a little bit. So I'm like, oh, maybe let me just tie a different hitch. Like I mean, it's one of the great things about friction hitches is like if something's not holding, just tie a different knot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Um, but also like I know lots of climbers who it was holding and then all of a sudden the glaze was just too much and they just ripped to the ground. Like,
Yeah.
um, and it's like, but none of that is highlighted. I mean, it goes through gear inspection, but once it goes through gear inspection, it's like it doesn't get looked at again.
Mm,
Um, if I go do a work climb, I've done this. Like I've done a work climb on a broken in hitch, and thank the Lord that I had another hitch because I roasted that thing. But like I could have just like walked right into AR and tried to use that same hitch, and if it held, it held. It's where it is this like it's this weird line, and that's why I say like we're going through some weird growing pains
yeah.
as a game, as a sport, because it's like we're not like we want to push this thing as far as we can possibly go and make it as awesome as it can be, but it's still like it's still run by volunteers. Which I love. Like, I love
Hmm.
that people volunteer. I mean, on the same s coin, just the other side of it, like,
Yeah.
I wish those volunteers weren't volunteering. I wish they got paid to be there, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a heck of a lot of an expense to
Yeah.
be a part of it. Like,
Yeah.
a labor of love. Volunteering for tree climbing competitions is a labor of love. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of expense that goes into it with just, like, good vibes
Right.
and knowing that you're helping the industry progress because you're helping these, put on this event for these people to push themselves.
Yeah.
But then when we get at this realm of where the industry is moving at such a rapid rate, like, stationary rope climbing, what was that? Like that the 2000 was it 2015? We got to get Bingham onto this
Yeah.
podcast also, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think it was 2015 when the rope wrench debacle, like at ITCC happened.
Yeah. I believe so.
Um, and maybe it was sooner than that. When did I compete in because this I have a sweatshirt from my Kentucky tree climbing comp. The first year I competed in Kentucky was 2015. So it must have been 2014 when this happened. Anyway, somebody's gonna, you know, fact check
Yeah.
me.
Yep.
I'll do it anyway. But anyway, like that also,
Yeah.
a little over 10 years ago.
10 years. Yeah.
Exactly 10 years ago. Like
Yeah.
stationary
The
rope
blink of an eye.
climbing. Yeah,
Yeah.
stationary rope climbing enters the group chat. Like, "Hey guys, I'm here.
And now look
I'm
at and now
stationary rope
look what we
climbing."
have. And now look
Yeah,
what we have. Like, bleh.
yeah.
Just
And, like, the controversy that, like, spun up around the rope wrench just existed, like, you know, "You can't use that. What are
yeah.
you doing?" Like, you know, the hitch is still the life support system, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Before that, it was using a ring and ring friction saver. Like, what are we doing here? Before that, using eye to eye 10x friction hitches. Like all this progression, this is just a natural thing. It's just happening at such a rapid rate in in uh in our game now that it's like to say let's just let's just show some grace of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
mechanical list device list is just gonna probably keep growing. Like I'm waiting for DMM to finally grace us with some. I don't know if that's not like me sharing some sort of like, behind the
Yeah.
curtain. I have no idea if they're working on something. I'd be
Yeah.
surprised if they're not, but I don't know if they are for sure. But like,
Sure.
still they drop something.
Yeah.
ART, it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah.
So the list is important. Let's not get super spun up on that. And just trust that like, these volunteers are doing doing what they can to make sure people are, not having really terrible experiences and get events and then shut these events down. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
100%. No, it's all good.
Yeah. But the reflex. So
Sorry.
uh
Full circle.
yeah, it is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Uh it's been
Well,
neat to
what
see
else?
that the go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say to see that the blackbird is like starting to make its way to some people's homes. Hasn't made its way to my home yet, but
No.
it's made its way to somebody's home in the States. So
Well, that's good.
yeah.
Have you heard anything more about when it's coming, and
No.
are they working out all the kinks to that one too?
I haven't heard anything more about when it's coming out. But as far as I know, the last update that they did is seems to be working. I don't know. Like I at the yeah, I I don't know how many devices are out in the world right now, and of those devices, how many of them have been updated.
Hmm.
Because if I go out to my truck right now and look in my gear bag, like I've got several different climbing devices in there that just sit. Because for the most part, I climb on the Vertec and the Reflex, and that's it. So
Yeah.
all these other devices just sit in the truck. So that's the other thing of like, well, when people say, "Oh yeah, I've had so and so device for several months," it's like, well, how much has it just been sitting in a bag? Has it just been sitting in the truck? That's where it's like the Blackbird specifically is such a cool device from what I've been able to like play around with it on a very limited capacity. But I
Yeah.
just don't know. I don't know anything about it. Like I don't. Peter DeVries is the one that I know the best that has that device, and I know he's not climbing on. He's not climbing all the time, and he's not climbing on that thing all the time. So,
Sure. Yeah.
so I'll be real curious once the kinks are worked out and more people have it, running it and giving feedback.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully by ITCC this coming year, 2026, it'll be
Yeah,
ready to go.
we'll see. I'm becoming
Yeah.
more crotchety with my climbing devices, though. I love that
Getting
Vertec and I
closer,
love that Reflex.
closer and closer to the 40-year-old man that you are.
I know, dude. So close.
Yeah.
Cedar said that again today as we're like on the golf course. He's like, "Dad, you're almost 40." And I'm like, "Thanks, bud. Thanks. Yeah, I got 8 more months. Yeah, thanks, buddy."
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I got
It's like
4
walks in.
weeks. I
Yeah.
got 4 weeks and I'll be 42.
Old man.
Oh
You
man.
old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, it happens. It's kind of crazy. Kind
Happens
of
to
crazy.
everyone. It is.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stings, but it's a blessing.
So what is
Oh,
it about this Malcolm Gladwell philosophy that you wanted to chat about?
the 10,000 hours. Yeah. The yeah, I don't know. It was 10 hour talking while we were driving and
Mm.
it just we got we got rolling, or I got rolling on this of
She got to listening, you got to talking.
yeah. Yeah. The like I had a lot of caffeine. We were in the car for 2 hours and it was just a light like yeah, I just latched onto this and then I was like, well, I think this could be like a cool thing for Evan and I to talk about as well. But
Awesome.
so the the 10,000 hours concept. So if anyone who's unfamiliar with what it is I'm talking about, Malcolm Gladwell is the person who highlighted, basically like how how does one master something, like get to a point of like excellence in something. I think he studied musicians. That's the one that really stuck out. Do you
There was
remember
sport.
who else?
Yeah,
Sports,
there was an
athletes,
athlete in there, an artist,
artists.
a pianist, and I want to say I thought he did 4. It's in his book Outliers, but I can't remember. It's been a while for that one. But I
Yeah,
thought there were 4 people that he had studies on. Anyway, well,
yeah,
should have done a little bit more research beforehand,
yeah,
but
yeah,
regardless.
yeah. Also, tree climber logic here. So it's I'm just happy that my brother again gave me the book and I have things written. Uh, this whole concept of like pre-work. This is we'll
Yeah.
work our way into that. You know we'll
2026
eventually.
goals. Yeah.
Yeah, 2027, we're coming hard with homework, pre-work being done, being ready for conversations such as this.
Nice. Nice.
Anyway, so this whole concept of like, you know, someone has to put in 10,000 hours in order to do something. So it made me really like think, especially like as like Kelsey's wanting to try to figure out her next move in her career, like
Mm.
and just talking through these different ideas and then it's and then it had me going down this road of like conversations I have with like my coworker coworkers of the past as well of just this people want to be really good at what we do. People want to excel, like you don't see tree work um for a long time just you know you're into the money because you could you could have physically easier make more money. So we all stay in it because we love aspects of it, some more so than others. How do you do that that mastery part of it, right? It's time spent. So just some some live math here. So how many hours do you think are like a safe bet for your average tree climber to not just climb, but just working
Mm.
in any given week?
Well, if you just do it by a 40-hour work week, most people also take a couple weeks of vacation a year. So you got 50 weeks in a year and 40 hours in a typical work week. So you have 2,000 hours total work time in a year.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So that's total work time. Think about your just say a climber. How often in those 2,000 hours, right? Because like 10,000 hours at this rate would be 5 years, right? Pretty easy math.
Yeah.
2,000 hours times
Yeah.
five. That's 2,000. But
Right.
that's not climbing, right? That's just
Yeah.
work, right? Which is,
Yeah.
it's super important. Like arboriculture is
Yeah.
not just climbing. Like it's a
Right.
complete thing. But inside that 2,000 hours is a bunch of
Yeah.
driving, it's a bunch of raking, it's a bunch of rigging, it's a bunch of running equipment, and then there's climbing.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, of those 2,000 hours, how many of those hours do you think we would say someone is spending climbing?
I think on the high end, you're looking at maybe a quarter of that time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
So just multiply that by
5,
4, right?
divide that by
If
4,
you're
but yeah.
No, but I mean, you would multiply it if you're looking at, well, I'm trying to get to this 10,000 hour mark, right?
Right.
Because Malcolm says that if we want to have mastery at anything, and there's also some context to that, or there's a nuance to just 10,000 hours, but I'll save that for just a moment. But if we're at 2,000 hours of work time in a year, so then that would be 5 years. But if we're talking about climbing and mastery level of climbing, and on the high end you're at a quarter of that time, well then you would have to multiply that to get to how many years it would actually take you to get to mastery level. So you're looking
Mhm.
at 20 years potentially of climbing before you get to mastery level.
Yeah.
And so the going back to that other point, you know, Gladwell states that yes, you shall have, or you need approximately 10,000 hours, but looking at it, just taking, because this is what we do is so similar to sport, it isn't enough to just go out. And I love that Coates talks about this all the time. Like we would just go do dangle abouts. You want to go throw a line and just do a dangle about. Well, it's when you're training or when you're trying to get to mastery level, it isn't enough to just go get your time in by doing a
Mhm.
dangle about. You have to actually work on techniques, doing other things to get to that mastery level.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it just takes a stinking long time to obtain mastery level.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And it's I mean, I don't want to we're just talking about, being old men. I don't want to sound like too much of an old man, but this is also like one of the struggles of like training and teaching and inspiring people to go and do these things is like it's like yeah, you don't just get good overnight. Like
Mm,
you don't like this thing to do requires an incredible amount of like physical, mental, I'd argue spiritual like attention to it to really connect with it and get good. The ones that
yeah.
get like like I it's this really I think started to click like talking with Brick and Paul of I say it started to click. It clicked a long time before that, but like are trying to articulate it when
Mm,
I was on their podcast of just those years when I was in Kentucky, and how much additional
Mm.
climbing I was doing.
Mhm.
Like I had, 2013 was my very first competition. Bit the bug of just like, wow, I'm not good at this, but that was fun, and I
Mhm.
want to get better at this.
Mm.
It was probably 2016, so 3 years later, before it really started to click that I need to work more. Like, it wasn't even then that I was like starting to like be really good. Um, I shouldn't say really, but like having like I was having more success because I was actually trying and I was actually practicing.
Uh-huh.
But it didn't click until I missed masters again by a point. Like talking with James, that year, it's like, yeah, you work harder. Like, or he didn't say it exactly, but he might have said it like that. But like,
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's how I
he
remember
may
it.
have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I remember
That's what
it.
I love
Is
about him.
just
Yeah.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I will always just. You know, does it irk me sometimes? His bluntness, absolutely. Do I need it? Absolutely. Um, but but that whole thing of like, oh, okay, in order to get to this level I want to get to, I have to do. I have to be willing to do more than what I've
Yeah.
been doing.
Sure.
Um, we've talked about that, like between us as the dogs as well. Of like, as I reflect back on the last several years, I recognize the absence of that very thing
Mhm.
and that's also what I was articulating on their podcast is just
Yeah.
like, in order to do this, like play this game we
Yeah.
play at a high level, you have to be locked in at a high level. Like just casually climbing, you can go up to a certain point, especially if you've been doing it for a while. You can rely on that muscle memory, but that muscle memory also is built from hours and hours and hours and hours of just this repetitive thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, like I appreciate a good dangle about. Um, it's also like I'm like, oh, this is like I appreciate it now with my kids. Before kids, I struggled to do that. Of just like, no, I wanna
Gotta go
push.
get there. Gotta go get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how fast can I climb the rope? How big of a
Yeah.
swing can I do? How few steps can I take as I'm walking out this limb? Uh, I think that's like where I wanted to talk about this concept with you is like
Mm.
have you noticed this concept playing? How have you especially like from a training perspective, how do you convey this concept to other people?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I use the whole 10,000 hours a lot, in my day-to-day role as a trainer for our company, Davy. Um, and especially on the utility side, I think one, I try to project it, to allow people to give themselves grace, um, because of where the utility side is at from a gear perspective, from arboricultural best practice. Again, I think we're still the utility side is still mostly in the mindset of, we are focusing on the lines, and we're not necessarily arborists by trade. We're still looking at ourselves as line people or utility people. And part of my goal is to try to change that perspective just a little bit, at least for the people that are climbing. Like for our folks that are doing mostly bucket maintenance work, um, I think it's really easy to get stuck back in that. And in many ways, I don't doubt them, or I don't blame them for thinking that way. But there still is a big population of folks that are doing climbing every day. Um, they're climbing trees. They just happen to be climbing trees around power lines, but we still have a lot of catching up to do from a gear and ergonomic perspective when it comes to climbing. And so I use this 10,000 hours an awful lot to try to get people to just give yourself some grace. Like there's no way you're going to get to mastery level in the week that I'm with you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times I'm with our crews in the field for 1 week at a time, and then I got to go to a different area and work with them for a week, and then I go to a different area and work with them, and then I go to our corporate office and work there for a couple weeks. So it's really, it's people see the new techniques, they see the new equipment, and they want to get better at it. But we just have to understand, like you can't, you just can't get to an expert level in this short time window. You got to give yourself some grace. But at the same time, like in order to get to my level, if that's where you're at, if you want to if you're passionate about it, which a lot of the guys are, or a lot of our folks are, it takes a lot of effort. And then I love, like, Christian Michael Schultz is a great friend of mine. He was a mentor for a long time and a work partner of mine for a long time. And he uses this term called discretionary effort, which I love. But he defines discretionary effort as all the time outside of your 9 to 5 or your 7 to 7 or whatever that time is where you're at work, in order to get to that next step, or like Malcolm talks about, getting to that mastery level. Oftentimes it comes from the time that you're not at work, and or what Christian calls is that discretionary effort. And so I talk about those two concepts a lot. So if you want to get to that next level, if you want to get to mastery level, understand that it does take a lot of time, and you can shorten that window if you're willing to put in discretionary effort. So the time outside of work. And certainly for us in the competition world, the people that are at the highest levels are the ones that are, they're doing all the things while they're at work, but they're also spending just as much time, if not more, discretionary effort outside of work, getting to that, like you were just talking about with your time when you were in Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, exactly. It's like, Kobe, you know, Kobe talked about that a bunch of like why he got up at 4 a.m. and worked so hard, like why he stayed so late so hard, because it's that whole stacking gains. Like if it's uh you know, it's brand new year, January 2026, everybody's going, this is when bulk of our society, like, New Year's resolutions. What's like some of the big things on people's New Year's resolutions? Well, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to drink alcohol. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to stop smoking so much, whatever. All these things that are health related, right? Like one of the things that gets said often is like it's harder to get into shape than it is to stay into shape, right? And the
Mm,
reasoning there is because there's a discipline component to it. Like once you've done something, uh it's like I've heard it, whether you repeat a word 50 times or have the same daily habit for the 15, 20 days, whatever it is, like then it becomes a habit. Like there's that book Atomic Habits. It's the same
yeah,
thing of like,
21.
yeah, having these like small things that you do that like stack on top of one another that allow you to get whatever that goal is, whether it's, more money, lose more weight, get stronger, be better, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, this whole concept of like mastery inside climbing. It's also like the other thing I have started the last several years saying to people is like, you never master this. There is always something you're going to be learning. Now you will get to a
Yeah.
point where you don't have to think about doing things the same kind of a way, but like
Mm,
this is a never ending like like hike up a mountain. Like you will
yeah.
never see that summit,
Mm,
because it's things are always changing. We're always learning more things about trees. You're learning more about what the human body is capable of. Your body is also gonna change as you age, and then you have to adapt all over again. Like, all these things that, like, it's never ever gonna stop.
Yeah.
And what I what I noticed years ago was, like, I would I would talk to people, like, in this kinda way of, like, "Yeah, you gotta put in a bunch of time." And try like, it's okay that you're not as good at this yet, like, because it takes a long. And then I watch people get really frustrated by it, to the point where it's just like, "Well, I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna just call Jeff." Like, for the folks that I work with, they're like, "Oh, that's gonna be too hard for me. I'm just gonna call Jeff." And because I know Jeff is, like, stoked on doing whatever that is,
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
am, and I'll always be that way, but it's
Yeah.
like, so I've shifted a bit how I talk about this now, of honestly trying to, like, be a little less graceful. Like, try to be a little bit more blunt of, like, look, if you're about it, you're about it. If you're
Mm,
not about, then that's okay. But let's just call it what it is. Because it's like, if you want to do this stuff, like, if you want to go do the big nasty, you want to go to do the gnarly work, you want to go, like, compete at this high level, and try to, like, play and dance and be competitive at worlds. It requires a level that it's just different, and if you're not willing to go there, let's just say that now, because it's going to be like, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. Like, when I'm, like, coaching people through this, of, like, if you want to
sure.
do it, I'm right there with you. I'll
Yeah.
help you train. You can come over to my house whenever you want, like, and climb with me when I'm climbing. That's You're fully welcome to do that.
Yeah.
But if you're not
Yeah.
about it, don't talk to me about it. Which
Yeah.
is maybe not. may, it's probably a little bit more that old man conscience that's starting to creep in. Just like, look, dude, I only got so much time. Like, um,
Well, I I think you could offer a grace, uh, for the first couple of times, like 1 or 2 times just to
well, yeah,
see if they are, and then after that, it's a now's the time for a gut check moment. Are you really committed to this, or are you just
right,
you're just not? And that's okay.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that doesn't change my opinion of you, but these are the goals that I'm trying to reach. And if you wanna get on board this train, then I'm happy to have you tag along, or maybe you get to the point where I'm starting to look at you. And there's
yeah,
plenty of people that are in that boat, but, at the same time, yeah, it doesn't, and it's no different than any other discipline. If you and I think we should also back up just a hair to go back to what the term mastery is. Mastery isn't like it isn't a it's not a finish line, right? It's not something that I can actually accomplish. It just means that I have the skill, wisdom, talent, physical capability, and maybe mindset, like all of those things to practice something, to be a practitioner of something at an extremely high level, right? It's like when I first got into tree climbing, I was a beginner, then I'm a novice or an apprentice, and then I get into it now. Now I'm some sort of technician slash expert. Now I'm at mastery level, right? Mastery level does not mean that I'm done. Because like you said, there is never a time where you're done absorbing more information. The beautiful thing about climbing trees is they're organic and they don't follow the book. They don't read books. They do whatever they want to do sometimes. Sometimes what they do is predictable, sometimes it's not. But to get to that mastery level, to be able to do things at such a high level, it just means you're pouring in, you're incredibly passionate about it, you're disciplined, you've put in tons of time, tons and tons of discretionary effort, and like you're just better.
Yeah. No, I love hearing Christian talk about really anything.
Yeah,
But
right.
that
No doubt.
but that discretionary effort, like I've heard him say that multiple times as well. And it's so true because it's like,
Mhm.
what do you? It's that whole thing of like, what do you do when no one's watching, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, we're referring to that in a way of like, how are you helping somebody? Like, like, do you go like help somebody fix a tire and then like hop on social media and brag about how you just help somebody? Like that's you know, it's but yeah, it's like when no one's looking, when it's dark outside, cold, when it's rainy, what are you
You
doing?
don't want to.
Yeah, when you don't want to, like, yeah, it's like the that right there is the thing that like we're starting to honestly, like we're seeing way more of it, like competitive realm, like where these you know like it's really really cool to see how the game has elevated because more people are pouring so much of themselves into it, like that
Yeah.
whole obsession thing of like
Yeah.
I'm um yeah, I fight, not idolize this thing called tree climbing hard. Like it because I hand up again, like I'm obsessed with like, Kelsey doesn't even ask anymore when I'm like looking away. What are you thinking about? Because it's like I'm thinking about climbing. I'm thinking about how
Yeah.
I can tweak my harness a little bit, how I could do a move slightly differently, like in a tree to try to like arc my, right foot slightly differently to land on a limb to push in a different kind of way. Like that type of thing that is like so cool to me and so weird to like a lot of folks
Most
at the same
everybody
time.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that, like trying to convey that to other people of like, yeah, this not even saying I'm not the best. Like I've not ever won world champion. Like, but it doesn't change the fact that like that's what I want to do is like
Mm.
win worlds. Um,
Mhm.
in order to get in that ring, it takes a level of dedication that, to be honest, I haven't applied in years. And it's and that is just what it is. But it's um, when I think about this 10,000 hours concept of when I go back to my time in Kentucky, that discretionary effort that was like we work days a week. So what did
Yeah.
I do Friday, Saturday, and most Sundays? I was in the park. I was throwing throw lines, I was foot locking, I was racing up ropes, I was doing back to back to back to back to back to back masters runs, like rehearsing these moves over and over and over again. I was running till my legs wanted to fall off, like, and it's not trying to be like a self glorification thing by
No.
any stretch of the imagination. It's just being real with the fact that, like,
Yeah.
um,
You're being honest
I
with yourself because that's the level of commitment that it took to get where you were those years, and I think where you're coming back to,
yeah.
hopefully.
Well, and I also I'm growing weary of just like hearing the, "Oh, I wanna do that." Like, I wanna do that, but kind, but not really, like, of, like, interacting with other folks in that way, if, or complaining about, "Oh, this is just too hard," and be like, "Yeah, it is. It is hard. Like, do it or not." Like, I'm not even asking people to try anymore, like,
Yeah.
to be honest, it's just either
No,
do it or don't.
so that's where, like, I think that's where my time in, my day-to-day role of being a trainer, it becomes a little bit easier for me because I don't get the connection that you have because you're with your group all the time. Like I'm with these groups for, again, a very short window, and then I won't see them again for months.
Right.
Uh, but at the same time, like I still think the mindset that I have with our people in the field, I think could be the same for you. It's you don't want to discourage them, but I'm also not actively seeking them out. I'll let
Yeah.
them come to me
Mhm.
and let them come to me and let them come to me like a lot. Because
Yeah.
even that process, like that's a weeding out process in and of itself.
Mhm.
If you're that committed to reaching out to me to get some training in or to to see each other the next time I'm out, you know, that to me gives me a good insight into what your discipline is, um, and what your dedication level is to do all the other stuff that you
Yeah.
want to do. And kind of
Oh, yeah.
the thing, I think the same thing can go for you. Like, yeah, great. That sounds awesome. And then just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And let them come out to you. Same
Yeah.
thing goes for everybody else that's listening to this. Like, you don't need to be abrasive to them. You can be welcoming, but at the same time, I'm not chasing you. I'm
Yeah.
not chasing after you to come out and practice. If you want this, it's right here, and I'm happy to go along that path with you because I'm already on the path. You can get on the path if you want to,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely not. I'm not seeking you out.
Yeah, that's a much nicer way to put that. It puts a much nicer bow on it. 'Cause yeah, how it plays, yeah, it's not like I'm, like, running out to,
Yeah,
all these people all the time, and just like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah,"
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
that's just not what my personality is, but it has
No,
been a lot more, like standoffish isn't the right word, but definitely more blunt and, uh, like, holding a line, and what has been interesting is you bring up that point of, like, let the interested parties, you know, bring themselves forward, is like that is exactly how it's played out. Like, I have a handful of climbers who, like, regularly, like, reach out and wanna talk through situations and ask these
perfect.
specific questions and try these different things, and it's just like, yeah, all day, all day. I'm here for you all day. I will deep dive into every little tiny aspect of that. And then the ones that are just like fine with how they are, it's also, yeah, this mutual thing of like, you're fine how you are. I'm fine how you
Great.
are.
Yeah,
We're just chill.
awesome. Yeah.
Um,
Thank
so
you. And it like in many ways also you're devaluing, not just you, but everybody else. You're devaluing what you bring to the table if you're actively pursuing other people to follow you along your path.
mhm,
By not, you're showing what value you bring to the table or whatever they quote unquote want to share in that shared experience with you or in that skill set or that tangible thing, whatever it is. You're devaluing it by trying to give it away, actively give it away to other people. I think you can say the same thing for a lot of people on social media too. It's really easy to just reach out and direct message somebody one time and then get offended if they don't immediately contact you back. It's like
yeah,
that's not how this works. Like, you're
right,
reaching out to this person, like, in our world of arboriculture, we've got a lot of people on social media that have a big presence on social media, and you're reaching out to these folks. They may not reach out. They may, like, immediately, and kudos to you if you do, like, awesome,
yeah,
but at the same time, there's a reason why you're reaching out to this one person or this group of people or, a couple people that have heavy influence on social media. And it's because they have something of value. And if they ever do reach out to you, you need to, respect that um and also just yeah, be okay
yeah.
with it if they don't get on your path. It's all good.
I know. I'm so mad at Joe Rogan. He still hasn't messaged me back.
What a jerk.
Oh, come on, Joe.
One day. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's spot on. Like, but I mean, like going back to what you first were talking about of like not trying to pull people along. Like, um, like I've used this example recently of and funny enough, a thing I saw on this leadership deal on social media where the guy was giving a presentation and like showing the difference between like trying to push someone into doing what you needed them to do versus walking with them. You know, like this whole leadership concept of like if I'm if I'm the boss and I'm telling everyone, no, you got to go do that. Um, and coming from a place of like you go do that and I'm not, versus like you got to go do that. I'm going with you or I'm gonna
uh-huh,
be like out in it too. Um,
uh-huh,
um, trying to take some of that concept like is also kind of what I how I hear you saying is also like investing in people that actually like it's a I guess a waste way of everyone maybe not a waste of everyone's time is probably not the best way to say that, but it's not the best use of that time if someone just doesn't want to go to that place. Why are you trying like why is the leader am I trying to force them to go?
yeah,
Like I've battled that like, with inside our system, like trying to make like high level climbers and like we've never it's every tree company. You never have enough high level climbers. As a
sure,
company, we've been like, we should try to make more high level climbers. So that way our high level climbers aren't just like getting burnt out all the time. Like, okay, well, trying to force someone to go do this thing that they don't want to do, like go get into this, especially like if they're nowhere near like time in industry, like this 10,000 hours concept played out again, like
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
force them down this road, you're likely going to like have a few outcomes. They're going to hate you. Uh, they're going to get burned out and quit, or they're going to get burned out to the point where they like quiet quit or they just don't want to do anything, or they get hurt, or they break a bunch of stuff. Like as opposed to uh, when people express a little bit of interest in it, and you're just real with them of like, hey,
sure.
it's a hard, long, grueling, in a lot of ways thankless road to get down down the road to the point where you're like looking up at that and you're just always stoked to go. It doesn't mean that you're not freaked out, but like you're always just like, yeah, let me get up there. Like I want to try, or like I want to get up there and do that. Like
Uh-huh,
give it a crack.
yeah,
Um, like just being real with folks, and getting like trying to weed out, yeah, like you're saying, weed out the folks that actually want to go do this stuff is
yeah.
it's huge. I know we're not exactly talking about tree climbing company.
But
It's
it's all
more kind of like
it's
yeah,
relatable. It's very relatable
yeah,
to that.
yeah,
Yeah, it like just like normal tree work, um, climbing competitions in many times. It's a thankless endeavor that we take on. Like we talked about before, most of it's volunteer based, if not all of it's volunteer based.
yeah.
Even at the world stage, what you gain from it monetarily is insignificant for the amount of time that's put into it. And there's no guarantee that you're going to have success. But
Hmm.
does that mean that it's not worthwhile? Absolutely not. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to me,
Yeah.
and certainly from a professional standpoint, but also in many other ways. It's because it's provided discipline, it's provided outlet, it's provided a place for me to be present. That like everything else in my mind just kind of fades away. Um, it's provided so many things that it makes the days that you don't want to get up, that you don't want to go out and train because it's raining or right now, or 6 inches of snow on the ground. That's 23 degrees. You don't want to go out.
Boo. Boo.
Yeah. But you got to
Yeah.
anyway, because you got people in your corner that you know are going, and you also know that the competition's not waiting
Yeah.
because they're out training. So just like Kobe says all the time, the
Yeah.
competition's out. I got to outwork the competition.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and just like in treat, like that's another thing, like just with work, and I think it's still somewhat relatable to um, climbing competitions, but I really like that concept of leadership. Like, for a long time, people always said, well, we got to lead either from we can't lead from the back, because you don't want to be, just like you said, you don't want to be barking orders to somebody that you're giving them an order that you're not willing to do at all. I don't, that's definitely not good leadership.
Yeah.
But Jocko Willink talks about it a lot. You have to be willing to lead from each position. So sometimes it's important to lead from the front. So when it comes to finding new people, or bringing new people into work, or bringing new people into competition, sometimes you need to show them the way. Sometimes you need to get them stoked, because they don't even know what they're even experiencing, right? They have no idea. They have no concept
Yeah.
of what's going on. So sometimes you have to be that person in the front. Other times at work, you have to be the person in the front because there's nobody else that can do the work, right? Sometimes you have to be in the middle, and you as a leader, you're taking instruction because you want the next person to take your role. There's no way that I'm going to get promoted to the next position unless I have somebody that can take my role, right?
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I have to have somebody that's actively working in my position. And then I'm there as the subordinate that I can offer help if they need it. But it's also just showing, like, being a true good leader is also being a good team player. It's also being a good subordinate. It's taking on that stuff. And then other times you do need to lead from the back, because one person can't do everything, right? Even if you have 4 or 5 people on your team that aren't nearly as efficient as you at one task, I know that 5 people that are running at 60% capacity are going to blow me out of the water.
Hmm.
But I still need to be able to lead from the back, because you still need to give your teammates direction at times. And I think the same concept can be applied to tree climbing competitions. Like, sometimes you got to bring them along, because again, they don't know what they don't know, but you only bring them along for so long. And then you're in the middle, like in climbing competitions, even if you're the best in your chapter, and then you go to worlds, you're like, oh God, I'm awful. Now I'm back to being in the middle somewhere. And then at the, like, in our world, in our stage of our climbing competition in our careers, we can also sit back and dictate some things, because we've earned the right to be here, and we can help the next generation progress. And that's what this climate competition stuff is all about too.
Yeah. 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 No, that's true. Well said. It's hard to, yeah. Often don't think about that leadership concept so much in the competitive world. Honestly, for no other reason, because it in a lot of ways, I view the comp scene as like my time to try to be a little selfish, because it's
Sure.
like so much of the rest of my professional life is very much others focused, where it's like the comp scene is like, all right, okay, now I get to
Yeah.
do some fun stuff and do me
Sure.
the way I want to do it. But it is, I
Well,
mean, it is spot on. It's like that's uh that's the way I
yeah,
look
but
at it. Doesn't necessarily mean it can't also be like a solid leadership or a time of trying to display good leadership.
no, but shameless plug, like, it's because we'll be there in 2 weeks. Like, that's one of the things that I really like about geezers
Mhm.
is that it is paying homage back to the people that are usually on the volunteer side, you know, the older folks, but also like it's a way for the people that are judging, the newer people that haven't been on the scene for very long. It's also a way for them to come in, and that I think that's where we're at now. Is like we're still on, you know, we're still on the judging side or the volunteer side from a, you know, in that competition, but it's a way for us to share knowledge and passion and hopefully stoke the next person that comes down. And we I know you talk about to other people, or I talk about it to other people. If you ever get the means, you and you're looking to go for one competition, in my opinion, it's going down there for that. And it's because of all
Yeah.
the things we just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing like it. Yeah, geezers is yeah, like yeah, for my own competitive uh side of things, and I've seen how it has drastically helped improve other competitors' performance.
Yeah.
How it's built these relationships, you know, with even even to the point, you know, you're on the you know on the volunteer side judging these you know the folks that are climbing who are then likely going to at some point throughout the year judge you on your climbing, so building that relationship in a way also like that's helped me from this event is like like learning more about these people allows for a better conversation, better connection away from the competition, but then also when the roles are reversed, I can go to that person or those people and be like, "Hey, what it you're probably not allowed to tell me what I scored, or you're probably not allowed to show me the score sheet. In fact, you're not going to. But how how can like what could you try to help with of like understand what could I have done better? How could I have scored better in your eyes?
Yeah.
Like how could I
Yep.
have climbed that better? Like that whole right where if geezers gosh, it's such a powerful experience in that way because it's low pressure, which again,
Uh.
just circle back. Geezers is supposed to be fun. Like it's a competitive thing and people want to win geezers and like we always try to set it up to make it like as rad as it possibly can be, but at its core, at its heart, this is supposed to be a fun thing where everybody just gets to climb a whole bunch
Yeah.
and be pretty stress free. Supposed to be.
Yeah.
Let's all
Right.
remember that. Supposed to
Yeah.
be. Um but yeah, inside that, like, it's part of where, like, I miss how it used to be, like, I long for the days that it used to be where we would all go back to the Red Roof Inn after, you know, at the end of the day and just, like,
Just part of
totally be a bunch of degenerates in this, like, parking you know, like, Dustin Urbanowski, I remember him, like, shattering ankle bone, like, doing rope jousting in you know, and couldn't even compete the next day, you know, learned a lot about a lot of different people in that
all
parking
the
lot.
all the one wheel madness that we had.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Those one wheels,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, again, get off my lawn with those one wheels. Um, but yeah, I mean but that whole like connection in that and I mean even that discretionary effort like plays itself out again in that way
Sure.
of like it's not just like, yeah, let me go hang out with the people that I always hang out with. Like that's where geezers like honestly, like when I first went to geezers and I knew the folks from my chapter and that was
Mm,
basically it. And
mm.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna start spreading the old, you know, social social
Social
wings here.
butterfly
Yeah,
that you are,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, and, like, just start talking with different people and, like, getting in,
Yeah.
getting in debates, like, having, you know, kinda heated arguments and stuff of, like, you know and or like I don't know, just all sorts of different just conversations that like that discretionary for it would be really easy to go to an event, show up, do gear check, only talk with that gear check or the person or people who checked your gear, then leave, show up
Mm,
the next day, just do the events, talk to some people, but not really, and then leave, and then not go to Masters. Like
yeah,
whether you made it to Master, like if you didn't make it to Masters, like don't go watch Masters. Like it'd be really easy to do all that stuff.
sure.
It's also not that hard to do the inverse of that. To like come in for gear inspection, talk to those gear inspectors, but also like go talk to one other person of like, hey, I see that on your harness. That's pretty neat. Can you tell me about what that is or how you use that?
Yeah,
Um, Guaranteed at minimum 20-minute conversation. Minimum.
yeah, right.
Um, that likely is also going to pull another tree nerd in to talk about that. Same thing
Yeah,
on the next set. And then go watch Masters. If you're listening to this and you go to compete and you don't make it to Masters and you don't go watch Masters, you are doing
you're missing
yourself
out
a massive disservice. Like,
100%.
and I get it. I understand from the like your soul crushing not wanting or not being in Masters, like whether you worked your tail off to get to it or not, like we all have different levels of like expectation and connection to that.
Mm,
Like, hand up again, I know exactly how that feel to want so badly to be in that ring and not be in that ring and then not to go show your face at that Masters to watch it. But I'm telling you, get over yourself and go watch that
yeah,
Masters because you will learn things and you will be inspired and you'll also realize that like nobody cares. Like people are going
yeah,
to be bummed that you didn't make Masters, but nobody cares.
right.
Like
But also just
um
happy to see you too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, happy that you're there.
Um
One caveat, like, also understand that, again, it's a volunteer thing, and when we say volunteer, usually that means it ends up costing you money, and,
mhm,
there's also travel for a lot of people, so we understand if you can't be there, but
yeah.
if you're on the fence and you physically can be there, like Jeff said, you are doing yourself a disservice by not being.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that cleanup. Yeah, I'm not saying like go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
go
Good, 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 good.
sacrifice
See, this
your
is
family
exactly.
and yeah,
Yeah. If this was just me speaking
yeah.
just now, that would have pissed off a bunch of people. And I've been like, "Oh man, I didn't even mean it that way." Um,
Right, yeah,
yeah. No, exactly. Like if, especially like if you're flying in, flights are what flights are. You gotta get out of town.
yeah,
That's not at all what we're saying. It's more of like
yeah,
who can learn so much by watching. If you think
yeah,
about it in like worlds, now you've got 10 climbers attacking the same situation. So you get to
yeah,
watch 10 different people apply their own unique style and vision and
yeah,
creativity and problem solving to that situation, and you get you know we're not all holding score sheets, but like we get to
yeah,
compare of like, oh man, I didn't see that as a potential thing. Holy crap,
yeah,
what did they just do? Like,
yeah,
and then talk
yeah,
to them later, like all this stuff of like that's I've always looked at when I'm going in to actually do a master's. I'm not only trying to like you know, kick that thing's butt as best I can, but it's also I know that I'm also trying to like train while I'm doing this. Like,
yeah,
I'm about to show how I see this done. And it might
100%.
if it has not been the best way more than it has been the best way. And like I haven't won them all. Like, but it's been like, no, it's the way
But
I
I'm
saw it.
learning every
Or
time.
yeah. So learn with me,
Yeah,
like, cause I would like,
yeah, no doubt.
watching you go into Masters at North American, it's like, you know,
Yeah,
I wanna,
yeah.
you know, um,
Learn how to not
that's
get drunk. Dynaglide
Well,
stuck in the
yeah. Well,
Cypress
first
610.
of all, don't throw Dynaglide. Just
We
don't throw
fixed
it.
that. We
Yeah.
fixed it. Okay,
No,
we
I
fixed
know.
it.
I know we
Okay.
fixed it.
All right.
Hashtag zing it or lose it. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Um, just
I'm
came up with that
sorry.
off the fly.
Nice work.
Hashtag boss. Um, but that's what I'm getting at of like even like with this whole 10,000 hours thing of like that's that
Yeah.
discretionary effort too of it might
Sure.
not be your own physical like be applied to it, but that's where the mind is of just like okay
Yeah.
how would I do that? And then like when you see somebody try it, be like, ooh, yeah, that didn't work. Or like, I was right. I was right. Like that could work. That sweet. I'm glad I saw somebody try to do that thing. Or like you're like, oh, what about
Yeah.
that little redirect up there that like I bet if you come across it just right, you just that
And then
whole
somebody does it, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
makes total sense. It's also like when when you are on this journey to mastery, you have to eat a fair amount of humble pie.
Oh yeah.
But when you're willing to do that, when you're willing to remain humble, or when you get humbled, oftentimes on the back end of that is where the most learning takes place. And so, to your point of, when you've trained your tail off and it just didn't go your way that day for prelims, and now you're really upset because you know that you have the physical ability, or um you have quote unquote earned the right to be in the masters, but yet you're not the one there competing. If you can swallow your pride a little bit or eat some humble pie and come back, that's where a lot of that learning takes place, because you do get to watch 10 other people or 7 or 5 other people solve this puzzle, and they're going to do it slightly different than you, and you're going to pick up on different nuances. I also encourage folks, if you're still learning the rules, it is a great thing to just take a master score sheet, even if you're not in the ring. Just take a master score sheet with you to masters and score the climbers while you're sitting there watching them, right?
Yep.
Because now you're getting an understanding of the rules. And now I'm starting to understand the flow and understanding all the nuance that is within the score sheet. Because of all the events, Masters has way more nuance than everything else, save for maybe a sliver with it being rescued.
Yeah.
Right? AR has a fair amount of nuance to it as well, but Masters is a totally different ballgame.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 5 times the point, well, over 6 times the points.
Yeah.
The, yeah, another
Well, just
yeah,
like no, like you talked about it in the one episode where you went over the rules for masters, but like even like the plumb bob station, even if you ring the bell but you bottom out, you don't get any points. Like,
yeah,
so it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to make that your first station unless you
right,
can pre-direct and you can just walk up to it.
right,
Like,
yeah,
it's just one of those nuanced things that
and it's just
would,
right there, and
yeah,
that's the thing of, like, that's information that's just right there.
it,
Oof.
yeah, it's
Uh,
right there.
well, and the other thing is, like, we show up for these competitions, and trees get pruned, tape goes out, rings get made, bells get put in trees, you know, vendors show up, media may or may not show up. Um, and it's there for a weekend, and then it all gets broken down, and then we leave. Well, those trees are still there, and most cities have no idea. I mean, maybe they have an idea that a competition happened there. Someone in
Yeah.
the city knows that.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, especially in the States, I mean, it's likely very, very different in different countries. Like, I know
Sure.
when I was in Taiwan, it was like the concept of recreational climbing inside city parks was a no go. Um, but at least in the States, so I'm sorry, everyone else that's not in the States,
Yeah.
well, for what I'm about to say, but like those trees are there. So with all of those trees, go back the next day and climb them and see
Right.
like if like okay, this is this, again, if you can, like, if you flew in there, you're probably not ever going to fly back there. I'm not advocating that you fly back there just to like rip those trees again. If you have the means to, let's chat because I would like to know what you're doing in order to just casually run back to that random place we climb trees. Um, but I've done that a bunch. I mean, even like here in town, my very first tree climbing competition was in this bird park here in Rip. I still go and climb like
Yeah.
those trees again. I don't remember
Yeah.
them nearly as well as I did, you know, 13 years ago now. The but it's a really that's another really great way to display some discretionary effort to see like okay, they botched that work climb. Like I so badly want to go back to where we did
Mm.
North Americans and run that work climb again.
Oh, in San
Um,
Antonio?
mhm.
Yeah.
uh, Even though those people would probably kick me out of that park,
It
because they
pretty
didn't seem
fast.
very
Yeah.
they didn't seem very tree
No,
climbing
the
friendly.
the folks on the other
Um,
side of the river. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We're not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, like I mean, it's another way to try to just get better.
Sure.
And it maybe is not something that's like clicked in your head, listener, of like you could just go reclimb those trees. Like do it. Coordinate, you know, if you can, linking up with other people. Like I've flown out to you to climb with you. You've flown out here, climb with me. Um,
Yeah.
I went, yeah. Like it's just all wherever you can apply that discretionary effort, it's going to compound gains. And that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. You might not notice it right then and there. You
Mm.
might have a great training session and you're like, "Oh, great. Okay, I am actually getting better." The amount of times I've gone to to train and just bomb. Just have like a terrible session, dude. Like so bad. Like can't throw like it feels
Yeah.
like I'm throwing bricks. Like
Yeah.
I can't hit a union to save my life. And I'm like I
Yeah.
used to kick my throw cubes. I'd get that frustrated with it of just being like, how? How am I this bad? Like how have I gotten to this point and I'm still this bad?
You ever in a
Um
park you ever in a park training and, like, people walk by and you wanna just say, like, "I swear I know what I'm doing." It may not look like it right now, but I swear
oh,
I know I've
I go the
felt
I
that
go
way
the other
so many
direction.
times.
I'm like, You don't exist. I'm not making eye contact. I'm not looking at you. I'm too embarrassed to look at you, to exist, like to acknowledge that another human exists in this space right now. Like
Sounds
it's
so
me, yeah, me in this head with terrible self-talk right now. Like,
nice.
like uh but what's always funny is I'll have these terrible sessions and I'll come home or I'll walk in the house if I'm training at home and Kelsey always is like, "How'd it go?" And if I if I reply with some sort of like that was awful or like I suck and she's quick to remind me of like, hey, not every day's a win. Not every, you're out there
It's
though.
awesome. Yeah.
You're out there trying. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Jen
proud of you
does
for
the same.
trying.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
it'll be, maybe it'll be better next time. Um, so that's also like a really powerful thing. It's like having just, you know, we have awesome, you know, you know, they're just awesome. Uh,
Yep.
But like, being okay with bad training days and knowing that like that is still compounding these these gains. If for no other reason, just because you get those bad shots out or those bad moves out, or you just like, you're like, that that's still in you. And at least for me, it's inspiring to be like, I know that's still in me. So that tells me that like I have zero room to ever brag about myself.
Mm,
That that level of performance of me exists. So I will never be a person that like I'll always be the best. Put me in the situation like it's because that guy that version of Jeff could come out. Now that being
mm.
said, I work my tail off to try to not have that happen. And a lot of times the next session I go out, I have a better performance. It doesn't always work that way, but it's that
Sure.
whole like willingness to go out like that humbling yourself and being okay with like, let's go out and we're just going to try to get 1% better today. Like, or on bad days, can we just get a tenth of a percent? Like, you know, something.
I just, I also like in that, in the same breath of Malcolm Gladwell. It's like, to me, that's part of the journey to mastery is being okay with the fact that not all training days are going to be a good day,
Hmm.
but every day, every day that you're training is a day that you're working toward that mastery,
Right.
whatever that is. Like every day that I'm not training are hours that I'm not stacking into getting toward mastery. So
Yeah.
even if those hours are awful, they still count as hours towards mastery.
Right.
If I am purposeful and disciplined in that training, right?
Hmm.
It's again going back to it not being a dangle about or not just going out there and just kind of like you can kind of use the same frame of mind when it comes to physical fitness and training, like going to the gym. I'm not going to the gym and then sitting on the bench and looking at my phone. I'm going to the gym and I'm working
Yeah.
out. I'm
Oh
physically
yeah.
working out. But there
Yep.
are many, many days where I've done and gone and either gone for a run or lifted or done whatever it is, that physical fitness part of our training, where I just felt awful. Like,
Yeah.
just felt like, why am I doing this? But it still counts. It still counts that,
Oh yeah.
making myself better.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that little bit of push of like, you know, I normally do 25 reps and you're cranking them out and it's like, oh, nobody will know if I did 23. Like I think about this a lot with our shared
Mm,
note of like when I'm writing stuff down and I'm like, man, they're not gonna know if I
they're not gonna,
like did this for
yeah.
4 minutes and 30 seconds versus 5 minutes. Like they're not gonna know. But then like because I'm just bad at lying too. Like
But I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh I'm like,
But
well
I
no,
can't,
I'm
you're
I'm
diluting, you're diluting the dogs. You
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, which I don't. Like,
I know.
but
I
it's
know you
like, but I
don't.
think about it, but I think about it a lot of like, they would not know because they're not here.
Sure.
And because for years of like before this, I would like I've mostly with throw line, I would like throw into these like unions I had picked out and
Yep.
then be like, ah, that's good enough. That's kind of what I wanted. Like, and
Yeah.
just was not
Yeah.
and I mean, like,
No,
and
for
honestly,
sure.
like, if you look at, like, my competitive, like, career and how it all stacks
Uh-huh.
up, throw line
Mhm.
is the thing that has, like, bit me more than anything.
Uh-huh.
Um, and, like, to be honest, like, it hasn't been until, like, the last 3-ish, 4 years where it's been like, "No, I am not doing that." Like, I'm not saying that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
this what I put in the note the other yesterday of my 5 rounds of, still did my 100, do 20 push-ups for each throw line I set. There were a couple where it's just like, I mean, it's, like, kind of in the area, and I was like, "No, that's not right.
Yeah,
that's not isolated. That's not in the union. Like,
sure.
nope. I'm either going to work it in or go back, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like,
I, don't-
that's
I
where,
made that. I made
yeah.
that comment, like not to say like we're holding each other accountable. That's what makes this group so unique. I wouldn't say it's unique, but I it's so valuable is that the three of us, like we all know that whatever we're putting on there is truthful, and it's
Mhm.
because each one of us isn't willing to dilute it by putting on something that isn't what we
Oh,
actually
yeah.
did, you know.
Yeah.
And we all know that we're going through that process as well. And Brick will say the same thing. Like, there are times when he's been going through it, but that's also why the group is what it is because you've got that support. And so to everybody else that's listening, again, finding that group of like-minded people that will not only support you but also push you,
Mhm.
um, and hold you accountable. Like you're holding yourself accountable, but if you start to slip, that the other people are going to hold you accountable to it. Like, hey, man, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
You slacking.
Well, because also, like, if you're yeah, if you're just letting stuff slide, like, if, you think about being in the ring, throw line, the judges aren't gonna be like, "Ah, that's good enough." You're either in the tape or you're not. Like, it's pretty black and white. So, like, you're
Yeah.
doing yourself a disservice to be like,
By
"Ah,
not.
that's
Yeah.
that's kinda what I was going for." It's like, "No. You're
No.
you're either getting a 9 or you're getting a 0."
Right.
Like, an M minus 1 if it's stuck. Like, um, so do it. Uh, and yeah, having other people to be, that's why, like, it's so cool to train in person with other people because
For
it's
sure.
like, I'm going to be quick to be like, nope, that's not right. Like, that's not in the union. Or like, climber, like Evan, you slipped off the branch. Go back to where you slipped off. Or like your foot was on the line or whatever it is of just like, because it's like, you don't get any better if I'm just like, you did great. Honey, you're the best. Like everything you do, cupcakes, rainbows, sunshine, you're amazing. Number one.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't help you at all. It's like, Evan,
No.
you don't suck, but like you missed this, and this.
Yeah. But
Like
you need to suck less.
run
Yeah.
it again and try to do this, and this. And I know, like, when I finish doing whatever we're doing, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
Jeff, do this, and this differently because like that was, like the tummy is doing tummy things. What the hell is that? Like, like what are we talking about with the tummy and rescue? Like,
Yeah.
like that doesn't help anyone. Well, it makes somebody laugh, and like laugh doesn't get you points though. Like, um,
That was
so
the best.
yeah,
Happy
yeah.
to see your terminology game is getting an upgrade.
But that's what I mean. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's easy
Yeah.
that like that real time feedback. When you're training
Yeah,
by
for sure.
yourself, it's very difficult. At least I find it to be very difficult to like hold myself to that standard. And I feel like I'm pretty good at being disciplined to hold that line. And it's still just like, maybe I don't
You just have
feel
a
it as
different
much today.
perspective.
Yeah, just don't short side yourself, basically.
No.
Yeah,
No. But to your point, like having somebody else see you, because you can't see all the things that, like, if I'm watching you, there's no way you're going to pick up on all the things from my perspective. And
right.
also, my perspective is the same as the judge's perspective,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So it's invaluable for sure, but it's also really hard to come by because we don't all live in the same town.
yeah. But you can record yourself.
Sure.
Like, I mean, that's like another thing I've done in my career. and especially I've talked about this before, but especially like when footlocking was part of the comp, uh, so he would video me, and follow me like the whole time, which God bless that woman. Um,
Yeah.
the amount of time, oh, the amount of time she is devoted to help me get better at this game. Um,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like being like, okay, block 1, 3, and 5 were pretty okay, but all the rest need some work, need some consistency.
Mm,
Uh, and so, but yeah, like video footage of even throw line. Like I like doing different angles to see like how my fingers are even working or how my hands are releasing or
nice. Yeah.
all sorts of different stuff. Like you can that's the
Yeah.
cool thing about this day and age. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different tools you can deploy for your discretionary effort if you so choose to pursue it. Like you can really nerd out. You see,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really it in a nutshell. Like you can
For
really
sure.
nerd out. Yeah,
Yeah. No doubt.
yeah.
No doubt.
Um.
What do you think, brother?
Well, do you have any hot takes before we wrap it up for the night?
Oh. No, I was I've enjoyed going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah,
But it's a great thing. It's a great thing to discuss. I think it's a wonderful concept to share. And like you, I'm pleased to see a lot more people just stepping up their game. And um, it seems like every year the level of competition is one, the level of competition is getting better, but there's also more people getting, higher and into getting closer and closer to this mastery level
hmm
of competition climbing. It's really cool to be a part of. It's also um, not really invigorating, but it's motivating because I want to stay at the front edge of it too, as
yeah,
best as you can.
yep, yeah. No, that's spot on. It's you know, the yeah, wanna stay competitive, and that that requires a different level. I'm just gonna keep saying it. A different level of discretionary effort in our lives now than
Mm,
it did in our lives, years before. Uh,
indeed.
but just because we've got kids and jobs and families and all this stuff doesn't necessarily, mean that anyone's going to take it easy on us because of it. Um, so it's kind of
I have
like,
a I have a shirt that I wear from Cameron Haynes. When I work out a lot, it says "Nobody cares, train harder."
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's why 5 a.m. exists. That's why, yeah, we're doing a daggone
I love it.
podcast till almost midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah. uh, uh, thank you again for doing this because I'd have been so punch drunk by
Yeah,
myself doing this by now. Been laughing at
yeah.
my own stupid jokes, would have offended so many more people than I already have. Um, yeah, like I'm not editing it tonight. That's the other
Good.
mistake I've made a bunch of times. It's like, oh, let me just hop right on. And then it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? I'm not a young man anymore. I can't just stay up till 3 a.m. and then just wake up at 5 and be like, we're good.
Yeah, no, sir. That is not
Yeah,
happening
yeah.
anymore. No
Um,
doubt. What about you?
but
Any
yeah,
final thoughts?
no, I mean, really, just to kind of summarize it, Geezers is happening in a couple weeks, so we'll see those of y'all that are down there. We'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Um, Stoked for that. Just always fun to have the first event of the year, and get the competitive juices flowing. Like I'm just so stoked. So so stoked to go help set up and do a bunch of dry runs. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been this excited to do dry runs in a long time. So that's cool. Um you know, it's totally fine to feel passionately, but be respectful in the process of feeling passionately, please. Especially toward people who receive no like monetary anything for their effort. So,
Yeah.
you know, so, take a chill pill as my parents would say.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, just, you know, get out there, work work hard if whatever it is you want to do, maximum effort. Uh, we get one life. We don't know how long that life is. So whatever you do it with all your might. Like, and that's really it. There's no excuses, nothing. It's just show up, put in the work, give it your best, however it shakes out, whatever. If you
Yeah.
did your best, you did your best. So if you didn't do your best, be honest with yourself about knowing that you didn't do your best or didn't put enough effort to prepare for it, and then be happy for the folks that did.
Mm.
Um, go learn some stuff from other people, and just enjoy. This is all like these like little quips and you know like sound bites maybe, but like just enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Like
Yeah.
winning is hollow, and it's like if you don't love the process of getting better, it's what's that from Cool Runnings, like gold medals are great, but if you're not enough with it, or if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it.
Um,
Something something along those lines. R.I.P. John Candy. Um,
nice.
but that's it in a nutshell. I mean,
Yeah.
like you got to do it because you love it, and whatever the outcome is what the outcome is. But just keep chasing that dream.
For sure.
None of that's a hot take. That's just a really
Yeah.
dumb summary. Not dumb, but it's a
It's a good summary.
it's a summary of
It's
what
a
we've
punch
talked
drunk
about for the
summary.
last 2 hours. Yeah.
There you go.
That'll be the sound bite. No, that's too long. That's too long of a sound bite for the reel for Instagram. But yeah, like and subscribe, smash that button, share with your friends. Thanks, Arbsession, Courant,
Nice.
Followship for the tunes. Thank you, Atmos Tree, for planting trees. We appreciate it.
Nice.
Hashtag sponsor us. Thank you. No, but really share it with your people who think might benefit this, and yeah, that's kind of it. Just stoked to see you in a few weeks, bub.
Yeah, man. For sure. All right, brother.
Bye, Dan. Go to
Yeah,
sleep.
we'll talk soon. Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
No editing.
No, I'm not doing it. I promise.
All right.
Thanks again so much for listening to our conversation tonight. Hope it had some sort of positive impact on you. And if so, just do us a favor, share it with some other people that you think might be into it. Hit the like button, subscribe, follow the page, all that fun stuff. We're trying to get more out there, trying to help the community in the best way we possibly can, trying to join everyone together, talk about trees and tree climbing and this whole thing we love to do. So thanks again for listening. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Followship for the tunes. And till we see you here in a couple weeks down to Geezers, get out there, ring some bells, and have yourself a great and safe day.